Oh man, I could see it glittering from here. I found what I was looking for. Here it is. Alright, so I got the question of, I cannot find flint in my area. What else can I do? Well, if you walk along any river, you're bound to find something you could nap. And it might take a little bit to find something good, but I will show you the kind of stuff you could nap. Got my napping kit here. All my napping stuff in there. And I'm just gonna look around. It's an almost flat piece of glass here. Let's see how this works. See if I can get some of the roundness off. See that? And this kind of glass is pretty easy to find any kind of riverfront here. Now, if you don't want to use percussion on this, you could always flake it. Like that. Now, I'm in an area that absolutely nobody comes to. So, these little flakes of glass are going to get washed around in the sand here and turn into pretty much sand itself. I'm not taking incredibly huge flakes. Nobody's going to step on this here. And if you're in an area that somebody might step on these flakes, make sure you put a tarp down and pick them up. You don't want some kid running and getting glass stuck in their foot. I'm just going to show you real quick. What you can make from this glass you just find. See how I'm shaping that? It does have some curve to it. Just gonna zip through this real quick. Kind of hit a little too hard there. That's okay though. Just doing a demonstration of how this stuff works. Most glass you find can be napped fairly easily. And again, I'm just using a caribou antler pushed into a stick here. Had a friend of mine, his name's Russell, and he was on the show Naked and Afraid, and he wanted to learn how to make this stuff from stuff you could find in the wild. This is how you could do it. I've also found bones along rivers like this. There is some bones. I don't know what those are. Washed out from somewhere here. Maybe a small deer or a small dog. And you could use those bones the same way I'm using this antler. So if you're out doing something like Naked and Afraid, and you need a tool to do this, just look for a hard bone, and it'll work perfectly. Now, I'm not shooting these flakes very far, just for example of what you could do with this. Maybe I should show what kind of stuff you can make from glass found. Yeah, I think I'll show. I'll just go through the process here. Basic shape there. So now we're just gonna run some flakes to make it sharp and thin, like that. Flakes aren't running, just sharpen up your tool on a rock a little bit. Shape this a little better. All right. So we got the flakes running all the way across. It's nice and thin. It's kind of big for an arrowhead, but it'll work. Alright, so here's a part that a lot of people have a problem with. I'm going to put the notches in. Now they don't have to be deep. Just like that. Push in and down. See what I did there? Alright, just like that, arrowhead. our spear point. Just sharpen up the tip a little bit and straighten it up. Okay, I call this finished here for that. Very, very, very sharp. Okay, put that in my pocket. We'll continue on here. Put the stuff back in my bag. Actually, I'm gonna put the spear point / arrowhead into the front pouch of my bag here. I always carry extras there. Zip it back up so nothing falls out. And continue on the way here. So you saw how quickly I did that. I didn't put a lot of effort into that point. You could make it look super nice, but if you're using it and you need something right away, that is the best way to do it. And I don't have that caribou antler glued into that handle. It's just really wedged in there. So you can find a piece of wood, split it in half, and lash it together with something. Then you're good to go with a flaker. Here's another good piece that'll work. And if you don't have the tools I have, you could just use a hammerstone. This little stone will work. I'll show you here. You can see it takes big flakes off. So I have a piece of shell. This is a kind of last resort thing here, because you don't want to breathe this in at all. You don't even want a chance of breathing this in. This is shell. But just show you a little demo. A little tiny. This stuff does flake. It's hard, but it'll flake, and you can make a shell point if you needed to, and that would work. But I'm not messing around with that too much because toxic dust. Do not breathe that in, trust me. Okay, continue looking around, see what I can find. Now there is other rocks you could use, and it's all worth experimenting. Here's one I'll try right now. Let's give it a shot. All right, so for this one, I'm just going to test it with another stone. This is more of a schist. So split this piece off. Now what you could do is roughly shape it. This is not going to be a strong arrowhead at all. And what you could do with the rest of this is grind it into shape on a stone, but underwater, so you don't get that dust. You don't want to breathe the dust in of any rock. You get something called silicosis, and you're going to want to look that up if you're messing with this stuff. Silicosis, you do not want that. But this you could grind into an arrowhead, and I know somebody who does exactly that, and I'm going to put their work right here in a second. His name's Northwest Primate. He makes some really cool stuff. Make sure you check him out. Even in a place that doesn't have quartz, every now and then you luck out and find a little tiny piece. Now if you really needed to, you could nap this down. It's small, but you don't need very large to use as a hunting instrument. So if you nap this down, and the smaller pieces are going to be harder, but we'll give it a quick try just as a the smaller pieces are going to be harder, but we'll give it a try just for a demonstration here. Took that big flake out right there. There. This is not the highest quality of quartz, so it's going to be harder to work. But if you keep zigzagging it and working away at it, you'll be able to thin it down into something that you could poke you with. Okay, not going to waste my time with that little piece. If I find a bigger piece, I'll mess around with it. Continue on the way here. All right. It's a little fairly straight piece of brown glass. That'll work. And I'll see what I can do with it real quick. So for something that small and that thin, you're gonna want, this is a copper nail. If you could find a nail on the beach, hammer it into something, and then grind the hammerhead piece off to a point, then you have a pressure flaker. This is copper. You could also do it with steel, iron, whatever. So we'll just see what we could do with this little piece. Pieces like this are often fragile. You can see the flakes there. Got the flakes going up this whole side. Stuff everywhere you could use. That looks like a piece of slate, but I'm not going to mess with that. Too big. Piece of tin. So I have tried tin before and it don't work. Don't even mess with it. It does not work. It hits the target and it folds and the target gets away. Do not mess with tin. My opinion. Some super rough quartzites that you could nap. It would take a lot of effort though. And I'll just give it a quick test. Super quick. Okay, so that does flake, it's just a lot of effort. Another piece of curved glass has some cracks in it. You crack it here along the way. You might be able to get a small hunting point out of that. This is what most people would be looking for. And these are everywhere. You could get a really nice point out of something like that. So be on the lookout for those. Bottle bottoms. Right next to some quartzite there. Super tough stuff. And some regular quartz. Well, that might be quartzite as well. Yep, that's tough. Okay, keep looking. Big piece of quartz right here. You're looking for the white stones when you're looking for quartz. You might be able to get something out of that. I'm literally finding hundreds of things that I could nap in this area that does not have any natural flint and not too much quartz, and there's still hundreds of things that I could nap. When you're doing this, be careful of tides. You don't want to be caught somewhere. Keep your eye on it. When I say hundreds, I literally mean hundreds. There's a piece of glass right here. Could nap that. It's curved, but if you nap it good enough, you could get that curve out. There's also other kinds of stones you could nap that just occur kind of randomly. Here's another piece of bottle. And it's not quite flint, but it's like called chalcedony or different silicide stones. Stuff that will flake in a conchoidal fracture, like glass. Anything that looks like you just broke glass is good to nap. Another piece of broken glass. This one's really thin, and really thin is going to be really hard to flake. You could probably just shape this one into a point and leave it as is, but you fire this and it's going to break. It'll break quick. So, the thicker the glass, the better, in my opinion. Tide is coming in, and this is the only spot I could get through here. So if the tide's coming in, and then it comes in high, and you can't get past this point, and you get stuck. And then you have to scramble up a cliff with thorns and such. So just keep your eye on the tide, always. You can do. So if you find a flat rock like this, you can't break it with your fingers, that's good to try to flake. You could try to flake that into a point. If it doesn't flake, you could grind it. Just do it underwater. Also, if it has a ringy sound, that's a good sign. Like you heard that when I just dropped it, it sounded like a bell. But literally, pieces of glass everywhere that you could nap. Alright guys, I think I'm going to call this video here. Thanks for hanging out. I hope this helped. I hope this helped all the flintless people. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I usually am able to answer everything. And you guys have a good one. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell icon. Make sure you get notified of uploads. Much more content coming. Keep your eyes peeled, guys. Keep your eyes peeled, guys. See ya.